Hitson, founder of GoodDoctors.Health, and it is wonderful, so wonderful to be with you here today, especially as we are really getting full on into our New Year series. Um, and today I'm really, really excited about what we're going to be getting into today, the things that we're going to be talking about. So I appreciate everyone jumping in. And if you're watching this, like so many of you, if you're watching it after the fact, please do send in. Let me know your comments and let me know what questions that you have, because that's really what these are all about, is to make sure that you're getting the health, the advice and the direction that you're really, really looking for. So welcome in, everyone. So, first and foremost, we are going to be getting into like some of the major things that you should be looking at as far as things you should be implementing. So, last time we talked about how you, I'm not a huge fan of massive overhaul resets as a major a major way to, I don't know, launch or start your year. That's not exactly my favorite philosophy. And the reason being is that when people do these huge over the top things, it just historically this just doesn't last. Okay, now I know a lot of people like to do like cleanses and different things, and all of that's wonderful. But what's going to really make the difference in the long run is how you are approaching your day in, day out health. And last time we talked, we got into like, you want to pick like 10 to 12 things that you're going to be really zeroing in on for this new year. So now what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be of your 10 to 12, I'm going to be recommending probably about six that most people need to be incorporating in. But before I get into that, and before I dive into like all of the different things, I want to be very, very clear as to where my intentions are whenever I'm developing these today's content, and all of it is because my major objective for you is for you to age very well. All right. Having a goal of just not being sick, frankly, that's just too small. And let's just be straight, that's kind of what most of traditional healthcare is doing already. Is they're just, just don't be sick. Or their whole goal is to get where all your lab work is normal. Everything is fine. Not being sick isn't good enough. And here's where I'm looking at. Aging well is a major goal for me personally. All right. So, and I know that there's so many people who want this as well. They just need to know how to get it. They just want to know, what do I need to do? There's a lot of people who just have accepted. They have just accepted that, what, I'm going to get old, and this is I'm going to get old, I'm going to get decrepit, and that's how. And it's just not true. It's not true. I have seen it time and time and time again. Individuals who have, no, I'm going to be straight. You can't like decide at like the age of, you can't decide at like 78. Okay, now, now I'm going to get it all together. It's go ahead. If you're 78, if you're 80 years old, go for it. I absolutely. But I'm just going to tell you, if you really want to start doing this right, you need to start a little earlier. you know what you do in your 30s, 40s, and 50s really dictates how your 60s, your 70s, your 80s go. Okay, so the earlier you start, the more likely you are to experience some really great outcomes. So really, we're going to be talking about what are these key things for aging well. Now, the reason why I want to age well is, frankly, I have, number one, no intention of being a drain on my family. I have no intention of being a drain on society. I I don't even like when people have to lift heavy things for me. I want to take care of myself. And I hope a lot of you do too. You have no intentions of being one of the people who, like, it is now up to your children, maybe your grandchildren, or I'll be honest, I don't want to see what it would look like if my children had to take care of me. I don't think I don't think that would go over well at all. Let me just say. So number one, I don't want to put myself in that position, but I don't want to be that drained. And then second, in the more higher, in today's world, and you all can agree or disagree, but I just think more than ever, our youth need some really good mentors, like real life mentors. They have a lot of information, they have a lot of access to a lot of people, but they're they do not have real life people in front of them face to face who are really sharing with them truth and love. And I want to be there. I want to age well so I can be there, not just physically, but cognitively, in every way, for my children, for my grandchildren, and whatever legacy has to come. And let me just tell you, that doesn't happen by accident. So many of us, so many of you have seen, where your loved ones, they have not aged well. They haven't done. And if you don't want to inherit your parents' patterns, well, you really can't inherit their health care. You have to look at things from a different angle. Okay. So that's a big part of what we are going to be getting into. And let me just say this. I understand what's happening in healthcare. I get it. There it is, traditional healthcare is have it's getting very, very systematized. I understand it's being bought up by a lot of big conglomerates. So a lot of healthcare now, you're not anymore. You go to your PCP, your GP, your family doctor. You're probably not talking to somebody who owns their own clinic, who owns their own practice. You most of the time they're part of a conglomerate. It's been a big thing. Hedge funds have been buying up a lot of these practices. So you're working with somebody who is part of a system, and their system is called the standard of care, and it's basically like how you operate. Like this is how you need to go through with each and every patient. So there's some standardization in that standard of care. The real goal is to keep them from being sick, to keep you alive. Not necessarily vitality, not necessarily longevity, to keep you alive, to address your symptoms, to manage everything. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference between when you're like, okay, if you have a teacher who is teaching just so that the students can pass a test, that's going to be a very, very different outlook than somebody who's teaching because they're trying to shape the minds of the future. There's a huge difference between the experience somebody's going to have. For instance, with somebody who's doing construction, who's just trying to get the job done, versus somebody who really appreciates what they're building. And I just think that there's a lot of that missing right now in healthcare. There's just a lot of the the purpose and the passion and the going beyond. The going beyond. Let's just keep everybody managed. So, and that's what I want to hit on today. Is what are those things? What are those things that help you age amazing? Because you need really good health if you're going to do that. Because you have to stay healthy physically, cognitively, keep your stamina up, all of that. So the keys to longevity, if you want to live longer and actually enjoy those years, there's several big ones. I'm going to hit on two. Number one, you have to be free of chronic disease. People do not age well when they have a lot of chronic disease, and chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, fatty liver, um, all of those things, and then some. Right? You do not age well with a lot of chronic disease. So reversing disease is super important. The other thing with regards to longevity is not being on a lot of medications. Um, Individuals who make it to 100 in general are on little to no medications, which kind of makes sense as a general. So those are the key things. So, in order for the big objective with regards to what you need to be doing, what is that core? Those are the foundation. So, can I just say this? If if you're still dealing with a lot of, if you're dealing with a lot of baseline health issues, everything I'm about to get into is more like how to advance your already existing health, not getting you off of the basement floor. Hope that makes sense. But see, so many of you that I work with, I could see several of you, jumped on here. So many of you, we've already done that. We've already done that baseline work. For the most part, you are healthy. But now what we need to do is we need to take you to the next level, right? That's what we're going to be doing. So so please understand, and we need to use biodata. Really need to use biodata to know what to do for you. So when I get on and I'm doing a lot of these types of messages, and what I think most of you have been working with me any period, I hate general. I hate going into general things because every time you make a statement about here's what you need, it can apply to 99 people, but then there's the one, right, that it doesn't. That is why I am such an advocate for making your health decisions based on your individual biodata. Blood work specifically is always my starting point. I really, really love blood work, just because it gives the best indication. So before we even get into these things, knowing what your blood work is telling you, addressing those disease processes early, knowing what issues your body is talking about. uh you know oh man, Carmen, I just saw in the comments, it's only been a week since I changed my diet and already feeling better. That is awesome. That is awesome. And it does happen fast, doesn't it? You don't have to, like, sometimes when people have been doing some of the things, different things for years, and maybe even decades, you think, oh my gosh, how long is it going to take to turn this around? Actually pretty quick. For what it's worth, there's cellular turnover. So, cells regenerate at a certain pace. All of your different cells have different turnover times, okay? But I'm going to tell you, you'd be amazed. Yes, let's celebrate, Carmen. Thank you, thank you, thank you all for celebrating. It is. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm so 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 happy for you. I've had so many amazing success stories and testimonials just coming through in the last 24 hours. So thank you for being another one. I appreciate it so much that you have such a huge cellular turnover within just 90 days. That's why I like to retest after 90 days, because you're almost a whole new person. I mean, not 100, not everything is fully turned around. But I'm going to tell you, massive, massive amounts of your cells have completely turned around and regenerated the 90 days. So it's amazing. In your digestive tract, wow, it has a very fast turnover. So you can see some dramatic changes. So congratulations, and I'm so happy. What a way to start your year. So we are going to be getting into, like, these relatively simple things that you want to be zeroing in on, that the majority of the people that I work with, they need to zero in on, that really lead to the lasting changes. Okay. There are more than this. There are bigger things I'm going to tell you, but these are the ones that I'm going to start. So as you are looking at your year, and you're ready to make your resolutions, and you've got some of your things, I encouraged you pick about 10 to 12. About one a month, one thing a month that you're going to be adding, because you do one thing a month that by the end of your year you're going to have a dramatic change. Of that, I'm gonna I'm gonna give you six that I encourage you to consider. So step number one thing that I really encourage, if you aren't already doing it, makes probably one of the biggest differences, is stop eating out. Now, I already lost some people right there. I'm going to tell you right now, so like, nope, not for me. I'm out. That is, let me just say, as somebody who used to eat the majority of my meals out, I never thought that this would be something that I would I would be able to do. I was actually even raised, my parents had a restaurant when I was growing up. And you think when you grow up, like in an environment with a restaurant, you'd be great in the kitchen, you know how to cook. Absolutely not the case. And here's why is because when you people are cooking in a restaurant, well, they have sous chefs, they have prep people, they have all the things already diced and cut, and then they have dishwashers who clean up your mess afterwards. It's a whole team that comes together. Let me tell you, cooking in that situation, in that scenario, totally, totally different than cooking for your family when you're doing all of the above. And I hated it. I really just hated it. I'm like, it can't be that bad. I'll make good choices. I'll eat at places that are, healthier than the other places and all that. And I'm not saying that there aren't some restaurants out there that aren't crushing it. There are. But here is what I'm going to tell you. Of all the things, and this doesn't have to be number one on your list, does it? But I really want you to start to consider reducing and figuring out why and where you are needing to eat out. Okay, be really, really clear with this. Some people are eating out a lot because they're just not prepared. Okay, they're just not prepared. That's one reason. Another is because it's entertainment, and it's something that they enjoy with friends and that kind of thing. And then some people, they don't like to cook, and they think that that's the only other option because they don't like to cook. And then there's a whole host of other reasons why individuals eat out a lot. Let me just say, with regards to the reasons why people eat out and when they eat out, number one is you don't have to be great at cooking. I can tell you right now, I that is not my strength. There are incredibly simple, very, very easy, radically time consuming ways to eat wonderful, great tasting food that takes almost no time. And you know what? If you guys put into the comments or leave me, maybe at some point I'll actually show you. Maybe I'll actually show you how I am doing this because it takes so much. Okay, like people say, oh, I just don't have time to cook. It takes vastly less time. We've gotten to the point where my husband and I, like, we're like, it takes too long to eat out. By the time you go, you get there, you sit down, they take your order, da da da. I mean, I understand energy wise, but I'm going to tell you, with regards to just the actual time, hands down, it's less time. So there's that excuse. And we really had to come face to face with that. That's this is not saving us time. Definitely, it's saving you money. Wow. We just went out. We went out. We had a special occasion. We went out. We did not have an extravagant meal. It was just four of us, $150. And that was at a middle grade. Like, that wasn't even at a nice place. It was just a simple middle grade. That is incredible. That is almost like one meal was like our groceries almost for a week. I mean, it is incredible. Which, if you did catch that, I mean, for our entire family, even when my son is home and he's an athlete, he's a big boy, eats a lot of food. I mean, we are able to keep our grocery bill is amazing. Like, it's shockingly low because when you're eating the right foods and you know what you're doing and you're doing in the right ways, it's actually incredibly affordable to eat. It's healthy. So again, at some point, if anybody's interested, I may do some content on how we're and do some information on that. So it saves you a ton of time, saves you a ton of money doing it. It can be crazy easy, crazy, crazy, crazy easy. If you just figure out what you're doing, it can taste absolutely amazing and you feel so good when you don't have all those additives, when you don't have all that extra, when you don't have all these oils and all the things. And I mean, you talk about keeping your weight down and you're keeping your inflammation down and all of that. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is not, thank you, thank you. This is not one of those topics I would have even spoken on even a few years ago. but I'm all the way there now. I am totally bought into what it is just to know what's going into your foods. And I would have never thought that my husband would ever go for this because he is definitely been like, he definitely loves to eat out. And he's like, he's like, I get, every time we do go out, like for date night or whatever, he's like, this is just disappointing. It's just I feel so much better, and we feel so much better when we and we when we made it kind of like our thing. So just encouragement there. There's a lot. I can get into that more if anybody needs more encouragement, but just sit on it, think about it. That's number one. Point number two, that if you're going to do anything, I want to encourage you, if you want to age well, really want to encourage you to look into flexibility training. Flexibility. And here's why. With regards to flexibility, what happens as we age? We do get more rigid, okay? And you lose your range of motion. Okay, for those of you right now, I'm going to show you one of the key ones. One of the number one reasons why individuals like can't start not being able to take care of themselves is actually shoulder mobility. Okay, if you I, it wasn't one of the ones that I had thought of before, but shoulder mobility, really, really critical. A lot of people are thinking hips and knees and that kind of thing. No, shoulders, just because you have to be able to reach, reach everything. So, real quick exercise, you can do this with me. One of the things you do is you take one arm, put that one back behind here, and you take your other arm and you put it behind you this way, and you try to see if you can get your fingers. Can your behind your back? Can you get your fingers to latch? Okay, that's an indication you're from behind your back. You should be able to touch. I mean, if you can do this, you're doing fantastic. But even if you can get your fingers to latch on like that, then that is a good indication of solid shoulder mobility. Now, I don't know, like it's so interesting how whenever I go, like you go the other way, try the other way. Now, for me, man, that I mean, my fingers are, yeah, I'm still working on getting this one shoulder back. Flexibility is so important. And the key is as we age, we need to bend and not break. Bend but don't break. The reason why so we get injured more as we age is because we're so rigid that there's it just a minor fall and things snap, things break. Flexibility. And I'm going to tell you, you really do see it when you see individuals who are well into their 90s and into the hundreds and they're doing extremely well. They are usually very, very flexible. They're very agile. I'll use the word agile. That's a more fair way to describe it. I mean, they can climb stairs, very quickly. They can usually get on the floor and pop up off of the floor with little to no assistance. Flexibility. Now, I'm not going to get into all the ways to do that. There's a bazillion videos on YouTube where you can learn and start where you can start with regards to increasing and improving your flexibility. But if you want to age well, wow, is that one of the ones that you want to make a huge priority? And I'm going to put that in conjunction with point number three, which is strength training. So here is the issue that I run into with so many individuals as they're trying to do all the things. When you're strength training, we have a tendency to lose our flexibility. So you get sore in your muscles and we don't keep up with the flexibility, or we do the flexibility and then we don't do the strength training. We need both. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to lift your own body weight if you're gonna age well. I mean, I I don't know how many of you have aging relatives and whatnot that you see, but you can see where they can't even get themselves like out of a chair. Like I mean, we had to buy one of those for my dad, one of those chairs that lifts you up because doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the range of motion to be able to lift, even even out of a chair, much less, the strength to maintain basic things within your house. This is really important. And we just we get so like we have a tendency to get, as we age, to get so sedentary. You gotta keep your strength up. You gotta keep your strength up. And I of all of the things, and we talk about this all the time on the labs, whenever we're looking at like low creatine kinase levels. It's line 20, by the way. If you're looking at your labs, line 20, creatine kinase. When your creatine kinase is low, we're already seeing the warning signs. We're already seeing it that your muscle is not keeping up. Need to keep up your strength. Now, while I'm a big fan of anything, I'm a huge fan of Pilates, I'm a huge fan of resistance bands, I'm a huge fan of weightlifting. I mean, do whatever, just get started. Just get started. But I am going to tell you, the more and more I am a huge, really gearing people towards body weight exercises, making sure that at some point you are using your own body weight as part of your exercise. So that's like, push-ups, pull-ups, tricep dips, squats, those kind of things. Because you need to be able to do those things. There's so many individuals who they could not get themselves up off the floor. They don't have that. They don't have enough strength for that. You need to be able to move your own body weight, bare minimum, just for aging well. Not to mention all the other benefits. Like obviously, if you start strength training, you're going to build muscle. If you build muscle, you're going to build metabolism. You build metabolism. Managing your weight is so much easier. And frankly, for those of you, okay, so I'm going to hit on a few things. So those of you who are working with me and you've got your lab reports, there are several things that when you start strength training, there's several key markers on here that start to move, that really, really, really shift. And one of them is your blood glucose. As you start, so blood, glucose in your bloodstream can cause all kinds of problems. High blood glucose is a major, major issue. But when that blood glucose starts soaking into your muscles, that is pure raw energy. Pure raw energy. And I know so many of us need more energy, and that's what happens. So you start building muscle, not only is your metabolism better, but you're gonna see things like your energy levels changing. You're gonna see your sleep patterns. Um, uh, just it's amazing to sleep. Your sleep patterns are so much better. You're going to have the endorphins. I saw an article. Now, this is a little different, but with regards to exercise, I saw an article that was proving, or a research study that was proving that like exercising for 1 hour releases as many endorphins or as many happy hormones as a antidepressant. So it was really very, very interesting how they made the corollary. But exercise is one of the absolute best anti-anxiety, antidepressants. So many people, whenever they're anxious, they talk about how like I need to go for a walk, I need to go move, I need to work out. The health benefits are amazing. We just don't do it. We just don't do it. So if of the six things that you're really going to put into effect, and hopefully one of them, I really hope that strength training is one of those things that you put into your system and you get automated, because it will make such a huge difference. All right, let's get to number four. Number four is meal planning. So here's one of the biggest things. I talked about not eating out. Well, if you're not going to eat out, then you do have to have a plan. You need to do something. And I'm going to hit meal planning from a different angle. I'm going to hit meal planning from the standpoint of you need to know what your body needs and then what foods you need to be regularly incorporating. And you just need to have the plan laid out, because when we don't, we know what happens. You just eat, you get hungry, you eat whatever. It's also exhausting. And I hope I'm not the only one. It is so exhausting trying to figure out a new meal, new meals all the time, trying to figure out we're going to make this week. It's just I don't I'm wondering if I'm not the only one, but I'm going to tell you, decision fatigue. Decision fatigue. I suffer from it. A lot of you do too. We need to get this down so that this is not one more decision I have to make. And so again, I can get much, much more into, yeah, thank you, Teresa. I'm with you. It is exhausting. So we actually, let me just give you an idea. And again, this isn't this is like a whole other thing that we can get into maybe during office hours. So those of you who are members, I held office hours. We just did office hours yesterday. Great. You guys had such amazing questions, by the way. You guys are incredible superstars. I mean, really, really, it's just a group who's totally committed to their health and needs the information. So, like during office hours, we can really start tweaking some of these things, and I can get into more detail of what I mean and how myself and others are successfully doing this. But let me just tell you, like getting a meal plan that is just set. I sat down with, my husband and my kids. They're adults, but when they are home, back and forth, I'm like, okay, we just need to decide. Okay, like I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna give you a list of like here's a bunch of options. Let me tell you, I got it off of ChatGPT. I put into ChatGPT like my requirements for what I was willing to make. And I said, like, okay, give me and basically I just laid it out and I'm like, okay, you guys tell me, what will you eat? Here's what I'm willing to do. Here's what I'm willing to accept as far as yours, because I don't eat exactly the way that they eat exactly. I can't eat the way I can't eat the way a collegiate athlete eats. I'm sure that makes sense. It's not even close. Our two diets are totally um, they don't look the same. Let's just say that. And we went through it. I'm like, okay, that's it. Got the recipe plan, got it all, and it's so incredibly efficient now. In fact, we even have like all of it put into a really simple spreadsheet. Check, check, check. Whether somebody goes to the grocery store for me or it's delivered, either way, it is done. Yes, I see. Like, yeah, meal planning. It is. Yes. Okay. So, absolutely, Carmen. I mean, we can definitely get into that. Um, yeah, Fresh 20. That is really a great option, and there are some really, really great options out there for. There's apps. There's so much, and I thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. I mean, really, just a ton of different ways to do this. It's never been easier, though. Let me just say, and the decades of being in the holistic side of healthcare and all of these different things, this has just never been easier to do. I mean, between the apps, between grocery delivery, between you know AI helping you with your ingredients list, this does if this we need to put the end to all of the frustration with regards to meal planning. So again, that's by all means, you guys, if you want me to bring that more and more into office hours, just shoot us a message or bring it up, especially next Tuesday. We will definitely dive in if that's what you guys are interested in doing. But meal planning, it can I just tell you the weight it takes off just having that done. So that is that was that point number 4, point number 5. And I really, can I just say, all of you who work with me on a continuous basis, I really want you to hear me on point number 5. One of the things, one of the big steps that you need to do in this year is you need to find how you are going to bring more joy into your life. So many of you are you are amazing. You're the meals. A lot of you are milling your own grain and doing your own bread. Some of you have your own gardens because you're growing your own food. Um, Many of you have made these huge, amazing transitions in your health, and it's so admirable. But but is do you have where are you putting you into this? What brings you true, real joy? And I gotta ask, I really ask yourself that question, even right now, as you're sitting there listening. Write it down. Can you write it down? Do you know what brings you joy? And do you do it? I mean, some of you are like, oh yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love hiking. Then that night's like, oh, okay, fantastic. How often do you hike? Oh, I haven't been in months or years. Some of you, oh goodness, I absolutely love being with my family. Oh, wonderful. How often do you get together? Two, 3 times a year. Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, but we've got some filler in time. This is a lot of you listening. You're very sacrificial. You sacrifice yourself for everyone else, for your kids, for your spouse, for your jobs, for your other family members. The role of sacrificial lamb carries a heavy price. And if you want to age well, you got to know why you're doing it. You got to have, I mean, we have to have a reason why we want to stay around. I mean, there's got to be just regular, continuous, daily joy. And it doesn't have to, I'm not saying that every day has to be a big party. But what I am saying is every day there should be something in there that you just love and you're doing it just for you. And whatever that is, whether it's dancing or music or nature or reading or whatever. I can only hope some of you start getting converted where your exercise becomes your thing that you do for you and that you really love. I can only hope some of you convert over, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. I mean that that's a really great 2 for 1. Some of you really, for you, you love creating in your kitchens. You love what you're doing, and that's fantastic. Just acknowledge it, and then let it be the joy. Let it be that amazing joy, or maybe it's even just adding some of those different nuances to your day. Can I just tell you how amazing is it? Just whenever, like something as simple as again, preparing a meal or cooking, just turning turning on the music and just dancing in the kitchen while you're putting it all together. It's just that's one of my absolute favorite things. If there's nobody else in the room, and nobody talk to me, because I love when my family members sit around and talk to me while I'm getting. I will gladly put together an incredible dinner as long as you sit around and kind of like engage with me while I go. It's what I love. Okay, just what I love. But man, if they're not around or whatever, just dancing. I just, ah, yeah, ah, and thank you. I mean, Teresa, I so agree with you. Like we do get to the point where you start getting engaging in exercise. You start doing. You find some things that you can like. Okay, I can get into this, and you do kind of get addicted, which is so wonderful, so wonderful. So I just encourage everybody to experiment, have some fun with it. If it's not, if this isn't you, okay, so be it, so be it. But keep trying, and that's what I love with the community, because you'll hear other people talking about what is working for them, and then it's like, okay, wait a second, maybe that would work for me too. Um, and how to make it work all year long. In good weather, bad weather, love it. So finding that joy. Can I just tell you, there really is nothing better. Um, Honestly, I have it at number 5, but I'd put it really at number 1, and that is it's one of the few universals. Some of you are fantastic at this. Some of you really do just radiate joy, and you're incredible, and you love life, and you really make a difference. Let me just tell you, we all know this. People who just have that joy are just such a delight to be around, to be in their presence changes you. And that's inspiring. So find your joy. So find your joy. And then point number 6, and this really brings us right back around of all of the different changes, of all of the different changes. And this is probably the most difficult one to describe exactly, but of all of the different things, The best way I can say is create your own physiological awareness, getting aware again of of you, your body. Many of us, by the time we reach the ages that a lot of us are, um, we just kind of go through life so quick. We're just really not in tune with what's going on within our own body. We can't interpret the signals the body is sending. We're getting hurt all the time. Like, by the way, that's a really good sign. If you're getting hurt a lot, that's a you probably do not have good. Again, I'm going to use awareness. It's the best way I can describe it. Um, there's actually, like, physiologically, there's neurological tests you can do where so many individuals who've had various traumas, physical traumas, and sometimes we even see emotional traumas, they have lost connection. They've lost the connection with their body. So if you close their eyes, if they can't see their hands, they don't know where they're at. It's really, really fascinating. Now, there's different degrees of that, obviously, but this is why so many individuals keep getting hurt. They keep injuring their feet and their knees and their hips because their body cannot find those joints to protect them. So creating awareness, there's a lot of different things, and I'm going to get into this more so for those who, especially during office hours, I'd love to get into this topic more. But how you do this, there's so many different techniques and different things. The first thing you need to just be aware of is, like, maybe this is a problem for me. Maybe I'm just not aware. Let me give you another example. Some people get hurt. A lot of people who are overeating, they're they're not staying in tune. They're losing awareness of their physiology. So the reason they're overeating is because they're not paying attention. Because your body will tell you, we're done eating. That's enough. A lot of us just ignore it, or just completely not aware of it at all. That's another negative consequence of this lack of. There's also, like, a word like mindfulness. I don't love that word for exactly what I'm talking about. Other people call it, like, somatic work, like being in tune. All I can say, no matter what descriptor we put to it, getting more in tune with what your body is trying to tell you. Because, and here's why this one is so imperative. The body is constantly giving us signals, telling us what it needs, what it's asking for, and giving us feedback. If you aren't in tune, you're not getting these signals, and you're not going to be catching things as early as possible. Now, obviously, we're using the blood work to then confirm a lot of that. But see, for a lot of us, we kind of almost need, like, okay, I'm kind of getting these signals, I'm kind of getting this feeling or this sense, and then you see the blood work, and it gives you that confidence, like, I knew it. I knew that was what I mean. Like, most of the individuals, like, whenever I'm going through, they're like, yeah, I intuitively knew it was the time that I needed to find out what was going on with me. That process of getting in tune, I'll get into that more again for those who want us, especially. I'm hoping that we can tackle some of that during office hours as well. And for those of you who don't know what office hours are, it's for our members, the people who I'm working with on a really consistent basis. That is what we're doing. We are we are growing old together. And it's just much more of a, instead of, like, one off, here's what your numbers show. It's really a way that I can get a track record with individuals to see how their physiology responds and see what their body is really, really asking for. So that's what members is all about. And like I said, we meet once a week, go through all of your questions live, have the discussions. It's been really powerful. And for those of you members who are watching this, I'm just going to tell you how much I'm absolutely loving this. Because, before, whenever, I don't get to see you a whole lot, like, between visits, we go months, between connections. it has just been so wonderful to have this really, really, really consistent communication and connection so I can keep um, not only myself, but all the others who are, like-minded. We can just help support you and address all your concerns and questions as you're going through. So, for anyone who has any additional questions, comments, please, please, please do leave them in that section. We do try to make sure we're addressing what it is that you are looking for very specifically. Um, Furthermore, as we're going through, there's going to be several things that are going to be coming up. We're going to keep working on ways to make all of this easy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if any of that felt heavy or hard, don't worry. I can show you how very, 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 very easy. I'm going to tell you, like right now, I've got dinner. Dinner is already like in process. It's already slow cooking away and whatnot. This is my family's absolute favorite dinner, and I'm going to tell you, it took under 3 minutes to make, and it is phenomenal. This stuff, if you start really putting it together, it's all gonna be so easy. It can all be so awesome. And that's what I just want, because we want our brain space, we want our bandwidth going towards the things we want, not towards what am I making for dinner. That's not where I want my bandwidth. I want my bandwidth. I want my brain power going towards helping you, helping people, with their real concerns. I want it to go towards this high level stuff, not not how to make a pot roast. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I need my bandwidth and my brain power, and you need you need your brain power going towards your passions, not daily maintenance. And that's just too much of what's happening. Too much of what's happening. So I see, you guys are agreeing, and that's what our year is. And again, especially members, thank you so much for watching. I really want to get our conversations going in some of these directions, so that you can just be like, you can be one of these superhuman people that you see who are like doing all the things, and they never seem exhausted. Well, there's a reason, because they're not using that much bandwidth. It's easy. It's easy because they've made it easy, and I've just dedicated years of research and whatnot into how to make all of these things super easy, because I found out really quick early on in practice, if it wasn't easy, people didn't do it. So here's how we do it. So we are going to be doing that. Wednesdays are going to be our day for these expanded weekly, where we get into the different topics. So please do, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, leave us the comments, and hit the notified bell so that you know when we're catching on. Especially if you're a subscriber, you can pop on, ask questions, and you can have and jump into all the comments. So thank you all so much for spending your afternoon, and please let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. God bless.